You wake up at 7 a.m. You check your phone. You already feel behind. But for most of human history, there was no behind. There was no ahead either. There was only the dark and what was waiting in it. For 300,000 years, your ancestors did not live like you. They did not wake to alarms. They woke to silence, and silence was never safe. Here is what nobody tells you about the ancient world. It was not peaceful. It was not simple. It was a place where every single day carried the possibility that you would not see the next one. Anthropologist Solons once called early foragers the original affluent society, working only a few hours a day for food. That part gets repeated constantly. What gets left out is everything else those hours were spent doing. Watching. Listening. Waiting for a sound that shouldn't be there. Because the moment the sun dropped, the world changed. There was no light switch. There was no glow from a screen to keep the dark at a distance. There was fire, if you were lucky enough to keep one burning, and beyond its edge, there was nothing your eyes could tell you about. Just sound. A snap. A rustle. Something moving that was not the wind. Your brain still remembers this. That prickle on the back of your neck when you're home alone and you hear a noise you can't place, that's not irrational. That's inherited. Researcher Daniel Lieberman has written extensively on how the modern human nervous system is still tuned to a world that mostly stopped existing 10,000 years ago. You are running ancient software on a body that expects predators. So what did they actually do, hour by hour, in the daylight that felt safe? They tracked. Not for sport, for survival. A single hunt could take an entire day, following footprints across terrain, reading bent grass and disturbed soil like a language. Anthropologist Louis Liebenberg spent years documenting how sand trackers in the Kalahari could reconstruct an animal's entire recent history from a single print, how fast it ran, how afraid it was, how long ago it passed. This wasn't a skill, it was a survival requirement, sharpened over a lifetime, because getting it wrong meant returning home empty-handed, or not returning at all. They gathered roots, tubers, insects, anything the land offered that wouldn't kill them first. And this is the part that should unsettle you. Most plants are not safe. Many look almost identical to something that will stop your heart. Knowing the difference wasn't trivia. It was the line between a normal Tuesday and a slow, agonizing death 3 hours later, alone, with no one who understood what was happening to you. They built. Shelter had to go up before dark, every single time, because darkness without walls meant darkness without protection. Anything could be out there. Something usually was. They watched their children the way you'd watch something you couldn't afford to lose, because you often couldn't. Infant mortality was staggering. A cough could be nothing. A cough could be everything. There was no test to run, no doctor to call, no way to know which it was until it was too late to change the outcome. They told stories at night, huddled close to the fire, and those stories were rarely gentle. They were warnings, dressed up as entertainment. Don't go past the ridge. Don't answer a voice that calls your name in the dark, because it might not be a voice at all. Every culture on Earth develops some version of this, a thing that mimics the ones you love to lure you into the trees. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself what kind of world produces the same nightmare in 100 places that never spoke to each other. And they slept in shifts. Someone was always awake, always listening, because the moment everyone slept at once was the moment everyone became prey at once. This is the part that should sit with you. Your ancestors were not primitive. They were not simple people living simple lives. They were extraordinarily alert animals, moving through a world that offered no guarantees, where the difference between a person who died at 19 and one who died at 40 was mostly luck, timing, and how well they listened. You carry their alertness inside you right now. That's why silence in an empty house feels different than silence outdoors. That's why a creak on the stairs at 2 a.m. sends a jolt through you before your conscious mind even catches up. Some part of you is still standing in the dark, still listening for the thing that shouldn't be there. Here's the modern mirror, and it's stranger than it sounds. You still do all of this. You still track. You just call it scrolling, hunting for the post that will make you feel something. You still watch for danger. You just call it checking the news, checking your phone, checking to see if something out there has changed while you weren't looking.
You still tell frightening stories at night? You just call them movies, podcasts, the thing you play right before bed that makes your skin crawl in exactly the way a story around a fire once did. The tools changed. The hunger underneath them did not. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has argued that even our obsession with gossip and social media is a direct descendant of those nights around the fire, tracking not animals anymore, but people, alliances, threats to your standing in the group. The mechanism never left. It just found new prey. So the next time you wake up and check your phone before your feet touch the floor, understand what you're really doing. You are still listening for the thing that shouldn't be there. You always have been. You always will be.